Hello and welcome to another episode of the DigiTeacher. This week I'd like to show you a project you can put together using a version 2 Microbit chip and a platform, a MakeCode platform that integrates with AI and allows you to do some machine learning training, usually around exercise or something like that. So I'll show you how that project puts together, but a really cool way to introduce students to machine learning and AI using a Microbit chip. Version 2 is way preferable to using a version 1, although you can use a version 1 in extremis. So I go to createai.microbit.org, link in the description, and I go to get started. You'll notice there's a useful how-to video there. So I click get started. I'm going to do something new. Right at the bottom, I need to click on, it says my Microbit's not connected. I need to click on connect. And I'm going to connect using the Microbit radio. If I wanted to use Bluetooth, I would click that one. If it's going via Bluetooth, then you click radio instead. And I've chosen radio because when I tested it, it just made a better connection. I was really struggling with the Bluetooth. It kept on timing out. But using the radio connection needs 2 Microbit chips. One of them is plugged into a USB cable already, and I've got a battery holder standing by. Connect the USB cable to Microbit 1. Just keep clicking next. Now I click on the chip there and I go connect, and it downloads the data collection program. It says disconnect and connect the battery pack. So this one now goes here, and I'm now connecting a battery pack to it. Over there. I now take my second chip and I plug that into the USB cable. So I'm ready to carry on, connect it to the second Microbit chip. I go through the same process, click connect. It downloads the radio link program, and we're now ready to start training. So this you would attach to a wrist. So if you have one of those wristbands or so forth, you can attach it to a student's wrist, and they can go out in groups, for example, and train their data. They need to be near the computer for the radio connection to make. So the first thing is you set up one class of action. So I'm going to set up wave, and then I'm going to just attach this play to my wrist. You'll notice there's an icon here, that is the wave icon. I'm assuming you can change that, and I'm going to record some waving, and I'm going to do it at different speeds. So that was one wave. I'm going to record another wave, and you can quite quickly just go through the core recording, and you can try different speeds, different intensities, and some that are a little bit erratic, but you'll notice the wave pattern that it's setting up is very similar. In the training model it says you need at least 3, but for greater accuracy I would suggest get 5 or 6 at least. Okay, so now I'm going to go down and click the other blue arrow, and students just need to follow the blue arrows really. I'm going to add another action, and let's call that clapping, and I'm going to record that, and I'm going to make a clapping action, and you can see the action is slightly different. Go a bit faster this time, but it should be recognizable. Again, I'm going to make about 5 or 6 recordings. When I was using the Bluetooth connection, this is where it kept on disconnecting, and I wasn't able to make enough. It was just taking way too time. The radio is working way better here. And one last one just for equity. There we go. So I now have all of those. I'm going to add one last one, and that is still. In other words, when nothing's happening, it's just going to say what's happening. So the different icons on the Microbit will show the user which is supposed to be happening. Being still, and being still. And as you can expect, let me make slight movements, just in slight movements, side to side. There we go. So a slight clapping motion, but still trying to be still. And I shouldn't need as many of these, but you know what? Oops, compulsive obsessive, just keep them all even. So I've now got all of those, and I can now click on train the model. So you've got this lovely live graph showing what's happening with the chip. So at the moment that's all kinds of things happening there. So it kind of keeps it recording. I'm going to click train model, and it's going to start the training, and this shouldn't take too long. So it's kind of classic thing that you see on Google, teachable machines, that kind of thing. You create different classes, but this is training directly to the Microbit chip. So it's much more immediate. So it says, you can see here there's kind of live training. So I'm clapping, it says 100% clapping. I'm waving, it says 90, 80, 70, 90. So high 90s kind of for the waving, and being still. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I think it's sufficiently well done that I can go on to the next step. Otherwise, what you would do is you would go on and you would train some more. And you would go back, edit data samples, and add some more training to improve it. So the next step is you click Edit in MakeCode. And we get the little circle of death. You'll notice it's still connected live. So need to improve. No, I'm going to close that. And we're now inside our MakeCode window. And you'll notice you've got machine learning blocks. So on wave, it shows that icon. On clapping, whenever it detects clapping using the AI training, then it shows that icon. And on still, it's showing that icon. Now, I wonder, you could probably edit this. So let's have different, just to see whether you can edit this. Okay, so I can change the icons there, and it should display separately here. So let's see if it's working live. No, not working live at the moment. So what else do you have? You've got, on your machine learning code, you've got trainings that you can happen, and a certainty functions there. So if it detects something, how could you be able to code that? Let's have a look and see what we can do with the code here. So one thing I could do is go into other code blocks, and for example you might add a melody. So waving, you could have a waving melody. Something like that. And I could have my clapping maybe, and on still I could have something else. So instead of middle C, I'm going to play. So you can have different sounds attached to it. So let's see whether that works. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click download, and it should be downloading onto the chip. Download your machine learning project. So I'm going to, okay, so it says it connects automatically, so I don't need to be created to make it. I unplug the radio link microbit. You need to reconnect the microbit if you want to record more data samples. Just going to go next. Connect this. I'm going to go here. Downloading the microbit. Okay, so let's see if that's worked. No, I think I need to download this one. Confusion reigns supreme. So I don't know, I might have got the chips wrong here. So I don't know if you can hear that, but that was my waving. Let's do the clap. That was just the middle C, and still. Okay, so it's detecting the waving, it's detecting the clapping. That was just the middle C, and then the low C on still. So you can see that once you've trained the model, it's unplugged, and you can now create logic loops or something around that. But basically, when it hears this, the training model becomes an event. When this happens on the chip, then some programming will happen, and you could add count or whatever, and you could get students to design some kind of project which detects movement and then maybe has a timer. So maybe it could detect walking, or it could detect running and then time your running, stuff like that. So try it out, play with it, have fun with it. And the types of projects can be quite simple, with just using sound or a count or something like that, or it could be quite complex. So let's say, for example, you had a dustbin, and the lid of the dustbin has servo motors, and when you wave or if you clap, then it opens the lid of the dustbin. So it becomes a motion detecting dustbin. So obviously one microbit chip would be attached to the servos on the dustbin, and the other would be on your wrist. So you could get students to design projects like that. You could get students, I would suggest strongly, to come up with their own projects and see what code they could add. Could be quite exciting to see what they come up with. What I like about this interface is that it's simple to use. It guides the student through the process. So they just click on every blue button, takes them to the next step, and they just have to basically follow the on-screen instructions. So it's quite easy to get students going on this and to be able to train their models. Sometimes, for example, ones that use Google Teachable Machine and then integrate it into a microbit or something like that, students don't quite get the connection between Google Teachable Machine and the microbit. This at least is on one interface, so you don't need to change interface to continue coding it and to get it to work. So if you've enjoyed this video and if you come up with some cool ideas, please leave them in the comments. Let's know what projects your students came up with. Like, share, subscribe, and please leave comments. I'd love to have lots and lots of conversation around projects that you are creating using these little tips of platforms and things that you can get connected to.